Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline studio. I'm Sybil Muschik. Behind the camera is Joshua Blanc. So today, and you must be wondering about my top here, we've got a whole bunch of recyclable materials, and being a gel plate printer, among other things, we have all these bottles, plastic containers, and of course generally they would just end up being recycled and off you go. But these are useful. They have lovely patterns on the bottom, so we're going to be working with that a little bit. And there's one here that has a number 2 on it. So I just want to show you quickly some of the things I've been having fun with. Here's a piece that we're going to try and, well, not replicate, but something similar. And it's got all the patterns and textures of all these recyclable pieces. So recycling is good, just to remind everybody, that's what we should be doing. All this plastic, we might as well make extra use of it. So here's some backgrounds that I was working on. This is just plain, using several colors. And then, I don't know what possessed me, but I decided to mess around with my painting knife, and I did the first layer, and I wasn't all that happy with it. So I decided to just do a layer where I'm using my palette knife. And all these lovely results came about. And we will try that right now, just quickly. And we'll get some of these out of the way. So the first layer is just a regular layer. And we're just going to use a little bit of color. This is my magenta, a little bit of yellow. And a little bit of white. So rolling it out. And if you do your circle, it sort of makes it nice and homogeneous. So as you can see, it's fairly dark. I'm just brayering it off here on a garbage sheet now. And we're just going to print that. Using my brayer. And by the time we've got the second layer prepared, this first layer will be dry enough to receive the second layer. Okay, so that's our first layer. Let's just dry that. Now we're going to lighten up considerably. More yellow. And then some white. Maybe some neutral gray. And then just go for it with your palette knife. I don't know if you need to look after a pattern or a way of working. You can try several things before you're happy with the result. All you want at this point is a lighter layer. So cover the entire plate. And you can swirl. You can do strange marks, whatever you want to do. Whatever strikes your fancy. This is a bit thicker than the first layer. And then you reprint. Now to register, you're just going to have to use it like a stamp. Line it up. Turn it over. And you have this amazing layer. So look at that. Now over that we would put these bottoms of all these containers. So we'll let that dry. We're not going to be using that one. I'm just going to clean this plate. Josh will do an interlude and then we'll get on to the second part. Okay, so for the second part, we are going to be doing these bottoms of things. And first of all, of course, we have to brayer out our layer. So it's going to be a little bit darker because we want some nice contrast. It doesn't have to be a totally even layer. It's actually interesting if it's not. Just make sure it's consistent in terms of thickness. Brayering off. Just okay. So the first thing we're going to do, and we're working fairly rapidly, is we're going to do some lines and create a grid that's more rectangular. It sort of steadies the composition. Because the rest is going to be all circles, so that sort of makes your head spin a little bit. So having an interesting grid sort of settles down the composition. Unless you're an Otto Rogers, who's a famous Canadian artist who did the grids, but he skewed them slightly because he said the earth is turning. Okay. Very interesting artist. However, he's not in this world anymore, unfortunately. Okay, so then we start with some bases. See what transpires. I want to be sure to get the number 2 in. Now it's the right way up here, but when you put it on here, of course, it reverses. And then when you print it, it's the right way up again. The magic of printmaking. So we're going to put the 2 everywhere. Some of it will show and some of it won't. Now here's another interesting one. I'm not sure, hopefully it will print. So we're just going to place it down in a few places. We have to hurry. I didn't put any retarding agent. And maybe a plain cup or something like that. I'm not thinking about placement all that much maybe cropping some things off in the corners. It's all good. Now there was something with a ridge on it. Yes, okay, and so we're just going to roll a few things here. And it'll just create more interesting marks. And we'll place the two in a very compositionally effective position. Maybe here for our center of interest. And there you have it. Now, isn't that easy and fun? And I have this piece. When I did the business with the palette knife, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'd love to get that effect again. I think the paint was breaking up a little bit from the retarder. I think we're at a position where we need to wait for this to dry and then release it with our super matte medium. So we'll go to another break and we'll be back in a flash. So we've put the super matte medium on. I didn't want to change the color, otherwise I would have used white. And as a release agent, we let it dry outside. It's quite warm out. It hasn't picked up everything. You could go back and put more matte medium on and try again. But we're going to release this one. It's close enough. You see the effect that I wanted to achieve. And I might just do it again. To get all of it up, because I did that yesterday with something else. And I just lined it up carefully by repositioning it. Okay, so there's our two. And all our little gears. Anyway, it's interesting, and some of our undercolor peeks through, which is good. And now I'm not sure the camera's picking up all these lovely textures from the bases of our little plastic recyclable containers. So it's all good. Try this. Don't forget to recycle and reuse. In this case, reuse. So thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and your families. As always, be kind to one another. Take care and bye for now.